wish you understand what it means. I don't try to go away from here as a victim. I'm just quoting Dushma speak. Yes? No more questions.
Yes, we've got lots of them. Could you write up the names of those people you've credited on the board?
Oh, yes.
Because as I say, you've got your pen already. So
It's all right. I have it here. You know, one of the stories told by Al-Ghazali is a scholar, is one of the masters of mysticism. In the early days of his life, he was traveling from his country to Baghdad to attend more classes on some masters of sciences there. And a group of gangsters took his things, usually his bag of books. He ran after them, please return my books to me. The head of the group's head. What's your work? He said, I'm a scholar. He said, well, you should have science here in your head. If your science is in book, then you are not a scholar. Ghazali said, since then, I took a good lesson not to depend on other than my head. So, yes, here I would write.
anywhere on the board. There's lots.
This is a very sweet blackboard. We like it in the center and in the hand because we only have a black one. The first one, Al-Muhasib. Al-Muhasib. That's the first one. He is well known by just this type. I will publish this work, and I will send you a copy. Maybe you will publish it. Kalabazi. And this gentleman, lucky enough, he is translated, book is translated by the great English master, Arpey, Professor Arpey, under the title, The Doctrines of the Sufis. Doctrines of the Sufis. 3. I should write again. Hasibi has 2 books. How can polish this?
Yes, I'm sorry, I haven't got the key to the little cupboard with the rubber in.
Anyone has a clinic or something? That's all right. The other one is Al-Tawahum. Al-Ri'ayah is taking care of what is due to God. Taking care of the rights due to God. And Tawahum means imagination, like I have that imaginative vision of the day to come. Al-Kalabazi, his book is Ta'aruf. Thank you very much. That is to say, التعرف is to know, that is literally about the people, the system of the people of Sufism. And it is translated Ta'aruf by Abri, as I said. Abu Talib al-Makki, it is Qut al-Qulub. That is the food of hearts. I should write it this way. Qut al-Qulub. The last one is Al-Qushayri. And it is treated it is translated by a lady in the States, but translated partially because some chapters she considers unimportant, which I don't share with her. The name yes. The name is B.R. von Schmiedel. She's a German lady. Principles of Sufism, that is the title of the translation. Mizan Press, Berkeley, the United States. Yes?
And were they all working in an area where they knew Christians and Jews, who are the main examples that they're using?
I don't understand the question.
Were they living and working in cities and areas where there were Christians and Jews?
Yeah, well, Muhassin Badbar and Kalavazi were all from areas beyond Iran, but they all come to Baghdad, where it was the capital of culture. And Kalavazi and Muhasibi in the 2nd century of Hijrah, that is, or 3rd century of Hijrah, that is in the 9th century Christian era, very early. Kalavazi and the end of the 3rd and the 4th century, that means Christian era. You add over 600 years, that is in the 10th century. Al-Makki, recent, contemporary to Kalavazi. Al-Qushayri is later on, means in the 11th century Christian era. And it's also, it was for Qushayri, beyond Iran, that they come to Baghdad and goes, come and goes. But the Muslim world at this time was one entity, because the culture was common to everybody. It means that those people were more civilized than we are. They never thought of launching a jihad war or a crusade. We did. We do that. So we have to reconsider our situation if we are willing to have a peaceful life with each other. This is it.
One of the reasons for my asking that question, I can just extend that before we throw it open, is wondering whether Muslims, for example, living in the Indian environment,
Yes.
are building on those sorts of principles in relationship, for instance, with Sikhs and Hindus. Because the examples obviously...
This is an embarrassing question. That's well, I don't know how little culture. I said I feel lonely because it seems very few people. Even this area itself is elite area. I'm not saying this by way of arrogance, but it is. Even the Sufis themselves are elite. Not everybody is able to be a Sufi. It is just like if we understandable in materialistic terminology, somebody who is very, how you say in French, gourmand, eats much. He cannot suffice himself with a reasonable amount of food. He must eat and eat. He just God created him like this. Somebody will eat just a piece of bread and fill up. So this field, spiritual field is also. Some people are naturally prepared for it. Others are not. You can't push anybody to be the way you want. It's an elite. And it seems to me that everybody is using the religion in his own way to benefit out of it. They disfigure religion. They disfigure the noble spirit of religion. The religion has nothing to do with that. So this is it. I think that revealed religions and otherwise, none of them would push as forward to go and kill other people. No. It is the stupid understanding of people to do that with others. No religion would say, kill this, kill that. No. No. So we have to reconsider and go back to the genuine sources of our religions, and we'll find human touching there, waiting for us. We just look with one eye. We pick what we like. We must open our two eyes, our hidden senses. We'll find everything smooth and sweet. Like those very early people. They give us a perfect example of a very civilized kind of dialogue. So they are boxing, but in the meantime they are smiling. No battle, no crusade, no jihad. Any more questions? Yes.
Harrison Michael.
Yes. Well, you introduce yourself to me. I know you, but I want to enjoy it.
Surprise. My name is Karis Wadi, and
you have to present your books to me. I will appreciate it very much. This is the only gift I can't say no.
It's difficult to say no.
Oh, well.
I'm honored that the
Thank you very much.
great head of one of the early, a few years ago, one of the great heads of our university,
You mentioned.
gave me the honor of writing a foreword to one of my books. Well, it was mine, but I'm so grateful for this presentation of the depth, indication of the depth of thought, of Islamic thought.
Thank you.
And I'm ashamed that all these four writers you mentioned are totally new to me, and I'm grateful. But there's
Well,
one thing I would like to...
I'm sorry I give you a hard time.
I would like to ask one area, because it seems to me at the moment we are in a world situation where there is a tremendous hunger and move
Nobody cares.
for what are known in many ways as peace processes. And many attempts, many people are trying to bring the spirit of reconciliation in. And I feel profoundly that we in the West and in other places need the contribution of Islamic thought, of Muslims, their practice, experience in these ways. And how do you see, who is relating these experiences to the forgiveness factor in a way which will actually help those who are feeling their way and trying to do it? Because I feel that this is a vital contribution, and one for which I'm looking, and I think many people are. And you think of that next talk here on the place of dialogue. I mean, where is the Muslim thought being given? I'd like to know who is working on this and on this relationship, because in a way, I think many people are aware that we don't need to start crusades and killing each other. What we're trying to do is actually to stop those which are in progress. And this is a further area.
Yes. Well, I tell you, again, this is very embarrassing question, but I will try to answer as much as possible for you. I think the situation of religions, not only Islam, but all religions now, passing through a crisis, because everybody is using religion for his own interest. I'm sorry to say that, but this is it. Whether Muslims or non-Muslims, the majority are rushing forward. Everyone is giving his own self and his own benefits out of the religion. They never have the, what may I say, this, in Arabic, self-sacrifice spirit of religion. The ancients, the awa'il, everyone would give the best he can, just for the welfare of others. We don't have this now. Everyone is sorting out what is suitable to his political ambition, even if it will come out with massacres of thousands and millions. Nobody will care.
You see, this is a generalization. You say everybody, nobody.
Yes.
What we need to find is the people who do. Surely, I mean, yourself.
No,
There must be others working
I can't say myself. This is arrogance I wouldn't accept. I don't know, including myself, if not Sandy, discreetly enough, phone me, I will go into my shed here and say, oh, this handsome lady pushed me forward and dig me into my grave and give me life again. Other than that, I wrote my PhD in 2,000 pages about Algeria. I spent 20 years in digging in the sources all over the international libraries. Up to now, I cannot publish it. Algeria made he developed the ideas, the main ideas of Ibn Arabi. Ibn Arabi stopped to have the perfect man. The perfect man according, you will make me talk again. Perfect man according to Ibn Arabi is the one who God's beautiful names and attributes are totally manifested. And according to Ibn Arabi, he's paying the tribute to the Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad Algeria extended this theory and made not only perfect man, Muhammad, but every creation, including common man, animals, birds, inanimate matters. Because of these, all his books were set to fire in Yemen. He is Yemeni, from Yemen, by the way. And I spent a lot of time asking why this Algerian, no one mentioned him until when I found, and why his books were not so available. Then after this long traveling and things, and I constructed his system. I couldn't believe myself, because this is of course against official Islam. Islam is only one God, but to make God of all things, including inanimate things, this again is not only Islam, all official religions. I was suspecting myself Then I found this text by one of the contemporaries of Algeria. He said, I met him, he was a nice man, and he spoke very reasonably. But when he left me, somebody I trust told me that Algeria absorbed the idea of the divinity of everything, human, animal, bird, inanimate things. I stand up in my room, it was 30 years ago, and I began dancing and shouting in the midnight, and my wife came in the room, what's wrong with you? I said, you can't understand. Because through this, I felt the outcome, the result that came in is correct. I'm not faking it. Understand? If an American friend of mine is a Jew, well, he's a converted somehow, and he was so delighted to know that a Jew did that, and said, Elghoneimy, this idea can make interface very productive, because people will stop killing each other, since each other is God. So this is a very productive idea, but it is against religion. Well, if it is the only way to stop blood shedding, why not? This is the trial. You chose your way. I have chosen mine. Any more questions?
Michael,
Yes, please.
I'm Michael Wright. I've read quite a lot about the Sufi, and I was very interested. I've never read any of those four Sufis you mentioned.
Right enough you are.
And I didn't think that they were so prolific in their tales about Christians and Jews.
They are prolific.
Yes.
Which I can assure you.
But what I'd like to ask you and tell you, in a way, is I find the Sufis are even more inspiring than you have shown us, because
I'm sorry.
I just want to tell you why.
I'm unable to.
No, but just if I could just tell you why I think so. I mean, because your Sufis, it's also cozy. They're all praising the leaders of the Semitic religion, and they're following the Quran, aren't they? Because Muhammad himself respected Jesus and Moses and all the rest of it. But the Sufis who've inspired me are the Sufis in India. There's a thesis you probably know about the Sufis in Bijapur, who have, despite all the Islamic doctrines, have been very close to the Hindus, to the yogis. For centuries in Bijapur, they shared Sufi shrines, were shared by Muslims and Hindus. And then there's the great Mughal Emperor Akbar, who I think may well have been a Sufi, who was so friendly with Hindus and Zoroastrian, and that is an aspect of Islam that I've never suspected.
Mr. Malik, in such a limited span of time, you don't expect me to bring about hundreds of books.
No, but I just wanted to say that.
I understand what you are going on. I can bring about Al-Halak. Al-Halak find his perfect example in Jesus Christ and not in Muhammad.
Halaj.
Yes.
Yeah, Halaj.
Al-Hussein ibn Mansur al-Halak. And so many others. Do we have in South, in Sufis, you can find, it's a grocery. You can find all you like.
Just let me mention one other thing. The Ismaili, who went to Gujarat, and did so well with the Hindus, didn't they? And after that,
Yes, those people we are speaking about, they are just missionaries. They are interested in converters. They are not interested in making interfaith.
You don't think so? Well, anyway, but yours, the Sufis in India.
Do you know the name Hassan Sabbah?
No.
Well, Hassan Sabbah is one of the main authorities and their chairman. And he used to have a fortification in Persia where he created something of paradise. And he bring young people and lived them in with the most beautiful ladies in the world, they must all these kinds of wines, all the pleasures, worldly pleasures you can imagine, they are there. And once he controlled the spirit of these young people, he sent them as killers and assassinators.
Oh, the assassins,
And
yeah.
those are your Ismail.
Those are some of them, yes. But what I want to say to you, I want to say the Sufis, to me, are the most inspiring element of Islam.
I have not
in
said
interfaith
otherwise.
concept. Yes.
I said
Yes.
this. Yes. We are on the same fourth step. We are not the virgin. Yes? Smile, please. Yes.
It's not really a question, it's more an observation, actually. I'm interested that there's a technique, psychological techniques that Sufi masters use, sort of ran parallel, seem a lot of parallels between this and
A lot of what?
there seem to be a lot of parallels between the techniques.
Parallels, similarities.
Similarities.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm
Okay.
too old to. My senses lack something.
There seem to be, to me, many similarities in the techniques used by Sufi masters as in the tradition of Zen Buddhism. The cryptic stories with many layers of meanings and mysterious remarks, sometimes shocking, sometimes funny.
You have not introduced yourself.
Oh, sorry, my name is David Dykes. I'm a scientist. It seems to me that the only parallel we have in the West is in maybe psychotherapy, where psychological techniques are used to promote emotional growth and trigger insight.
Would you allow me to illustrate?
Yes.
This is an ocean. When you walk on the surface, you will see different things. But when you come deeper, all things will be blurred. They are all the same. Asim Palacios is one of the greatest Spanish Orientalists. He died 50 years ago, and he was the theorist of la Divina Commedia, la escatología musulmana and la Divina Commedia. He initiated the idea that Italian poet, famous Italian poet of the Divina Commedia, has plagiarized Muslim ideas and nocturnal journey in his. And he was very much attacked because of that. But after his death with 1 year, it was discovered that one of Dante's professors were in Spain during the Reconquista, and he taken a translated copy of Ibn Arabi's Nocturnal Journey, and went it back to Italy to Naples, where Dante was able to read it and to absorb it, and it came out. Well, this is not the point. The point, he spoke about St. John of the Cross as plagiarizing Muslim Sufis. For a Muslim, this is irrational, erroneous, food. But this is not that food. Because Sufis, every Sufi, is on his own. They maybe have some similarities at the beginning, but when they come across certain limits, they break all barriers and all frontiers. They go on their own. Everything will be blurred for them. They are above religions, I'm sorry to say that, above creeds, above beliefs, above all understood norms and measures. So you can't say that this may be this. As the English researcher, this Andrew Hell, said, you must go and live this kind of life, and then, only then, you can say which is and which is not. It's totally different kind. Totally. the language is enabled to express, so they use the utmost possible way to express it, but it is not. You understand? When Al-Hallaj shouted out, "Je suis la vérité," I am the truth, he was honestly, and he was saying the truth. Muslim Sufi denounced him not because he said, "I am the truth." They denounced him because he dropped the veil. The veil is that Muslim women, when they hide the faces behind the veil, because he discovered publicly, he announced publicly what should not be announced. That is his fault. But they share him the same thing. You understand? That is. And Ibn Arabi, in his theory of beautiful names, considered Christians inferior, not because they consider Jesus Christ Son of God, but because they consider only Jesus Christ as the Son of God.